Hello everybody, so here is Black Angel again, and I'm here with a video about ESFP versus ESFJ. Um, so this is a topic I've been thinking about for a while, and I've been thinking about this topic because of a series of things that I noticed about these two types. And the first thing that I want to mention are sociability levels. Obviously, we're talking about extroverts and we're talking about people persons. So they are both sociable types, but they are sociable in very different ways. One of them is a fluffy bunny, which is the ESFJ. The other one instead is a leader, a king. So a couple of thoughts about functions. The first thing to be noticed about an ESFJ is that whenever we're talking extrovert feeling dominant, we're talking about that kind of people that need to meet new people every day to feel alive. So if they're not meeting people, if they're not meeting new people, if they're not making friends, if they're not out there having to do with people, they are not using their dominant function, and therefore they are not living in their view. So basically, ESFJs will be the types that will suffer the most of social distancing and social isolation. Whereas ESFPs, on the other hand, are extrovert sensing dominants, which means we're talking about activity, action. We're talking about willpower, physical strength, which is a totally different area of expertise, a totally different area of being, actually. Extrovert sensing does not require socializing. Extrovert sensing is a function that focuses mostly on activity, on doing, on acting. So contrary to what you may be thinking, the extrovert sensors are not those types that will need to be outside regardless. The extrovert sensor is the kind of guy that knows what to do to keep themselves active despite being restricted in many ways. Even though they suffer a lot from restrictions coming from outside, and they can react very badly, they still have the ability to keep themselves active. I know an ESFP, for example, that is training at home, not a bodybuilder, this time a friend, and he keeps posting pictures of himself training day in, day out. So that's one way in which extrovert sensing can choose activity. Another way can be finding ideas of something new to do every day or every hour. Extrovert sensors are volcanoes of ideas when it comes to activity. They copy from others. Maybe it's not their idea in the first place, but anything they see that grasps their attention and makes them curious, they want to try if it makes them active and it is in their area of interest, obviously. So as you can see, this does not require socializing, so they're gonna suffer a lot less from social distancing. Also, ESFJs with extrovert feeling are very others-oriented, which means they tend to put others before themselves in a lot of ways. And they are going to focus a lot on the needs of others and on what others are going through and what others are enjoying, what others are living, what others' interests are, and so on. Whereas the ESFP instead is a leader. And with extrovert feeling dominant, what they are mostly interested in is influencing others. So they are others oriented, obviously, but their orientation is mostly about influencing others. Also, Like I said, ESFJs are tendentially fluffy bunny because of this extroverted feeling or in others orientation towards others. Whereas ESFPs tend to have a kind of domineering attitude. They are considered bullies in many ways because they like whipping others into shape. And they are, in a lot of ways, kind of bullies. Not literally. I'm not here to say that ESFPs are all bullies. No, that's not what they are. Actually, I know about ESFPs that fight a lot against bullyism and that suffered bullyism themselves. It's just a kind of attitude. They tend to be a little bit domineering. They tend to want to do their things their way. It's the kind of type that either my way or the highway. That's extroverted sensing dominant. It's not an exclusive ESTP thing. It concerns ESFPs also. So if an ESFJ has a tendency to be the kind of type that is liked by everybody or tries to be liked by everybody, on the other hand, we have the ESFP, which has the Napoleon kind of attitude that says good or bad until they talk about me. That was actually someone else that said that, but that's the attitude that Napoleon used to have. So good or bad until they talk about me, until I have a reputation, until people are talking about me, until people are doing what I say, I don't give a fuck if they care, if they like me or not. So it's a different approach to popularity. And that's probably also given by the secondary function, auxiliary function. On one side, we have introvert sensing, which is a function that is connected to enjoyment and pleasures connected to the body. So an ESFJ is tendentially the kind of person that creatively uses physical sensations to approach others. Enjoyment of the body, enjoyment of anything. So it's the kind of girl or the kind of guy that pays a raw or makes everybody pays a raw for themselves to make friends with people. I mean, shots. Everybody gets a shot and everybody drinks the shot all together because that's fun. That's the kind of attitude an ESFJ can have. Alcohol, food, massages, sex, anything of that kind is actually in the area of introvert sensing expertise. And ESFJs are creative in that sense. So they use that thing to achieve their main extrovert feeling dominant, which is being in touch with people and making people happy. That's what the ESFJ is all about. So as you can see, we're portraying a very jolly, very sociable, and very outgoing type. Whereas on the other side, we have the ESFP with introverted feeling, which is a function revolving around one's personal feelings. So how I feel about things, what I think is right, what I think is good. So it's a very judgmental type in a way. It's a type that makes it a creative point about judging right and wrong, good and bad about others. And being a creative function, their judgments are not set in stone. They can change over time. They can change through the day. They can change their mind pretty easily about what is right and what is wrong. Obviously, when facts are changing, they also will change their mind. If nothing is changing, the situation remains the same. It's not like they're crazy and they change their mind out of the blue for no reason. Introverted feeling is always based on extroverted thinking and on factual information. So facts change, personal opinion about right and wrong changes. Facts remain the same. Personal opinion about right and wrong remains the same. Still, it's not a particularly sociable function, even though it is still a feeling function. And feelers do have a tendency to be a little bit more sociable than thinkers. But what we are talking about actually is not a desire to actually be sociable, or rather an instinct to socialize. It's rather a matter of being able or being unable to socialize. So an ESFP is perfectly able to socialize. They are perfectly able to keep up with an ESFJ's way. It's just not what they like, what they enjoy, and their main modality. So if it is true that we can see ESFPs being the life of the party, if it is true that ESFP are hilarious, their way of being hilarious can make a lot of people angry. And that's because they have this extroverted feeling, demonstrative function, as they say in socionics. So the position in which they have their extroverted feeling makes them the kind of person that enjoys and has shit tons of fun making fun of all those people that behave the other way. So they basically enjoy making fun of ESFJs. They are the kind of people that makes voices like, oh my god, this is amazing, like making fun of those people that instead do that, really enjoying the moment and, and really having fun about that. Which is something that INTJs find hilarious and that makes them comfortable in a situation. Ironically, an INTJ will never be able to join an atmosphere the ESFJ way, or that will feel burdened by that atmosphere, will instead be able to join that very same atmosphere in front of an ESCP that makes fun of the atmosphere itself, because that puts them in the same mood as everybody else, even though on a different for a different reason and on a different plan. So an INTJ cannot join everybody else's mood on their own. The ESCP creates the ESFP, sorry, not the ESTP. We're not talking about ESTPs now. ESFP. The ESFP creates the right mood in the INTJ, and hence making them look like they're joining when they're actually not. That's what I'm trying to say. Weak functions. If you talk about predictions, how the future is going to look and what is going to happen in the future to an ESFJ, they are going to implode, explode, and send you to hell. They're not going to take it well. They're actually going to take it pretty bad. Their vulnerability is actually about predictions, so they're scared to death about the future. And everything that exists for an ESFJ is here and now in this very moment. So amusement has to be now. Enjoyment has to be now. I have to meet people right now. If you tell an ESFJ, oh, it's not a problem if you didn't meet people today, you probably will meet tomorrow. They're probably going to think, what if tomorrow I'm dead? What if tomorrow I'm not going to meet them? What if tomorrow, and all the negative things that they can think of, they're going to really feel bad about that. Been there, done that. It's really something like, oh my god, what the fuck you're doing with my information? Anyway, yeah. Whereas the ESFP instead needs the kind of information that portrays a different future. Like, if everybody's saying that this coronavirus thing is going to lead all countries to default, and that it's going to be a disaster and all of that, an INTJ is probably going to see that not everything is closed, that the economy is not actually stopping completely, that there is some flashes of light at the end of the tunnel, and that even though the situation will surely be complicated at the end of the quarantine, it is still going to be something that can be faced and that will not cause the worst of situations. It's not going to be like the end of the world, like the end of the war. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's rather going to be a difficult time that will require a lot of effort from everyone to recover. But it is a situation that can be recovered. This is something that an INTJ could see about the end of this social distancing in the long term, in the long run. And that kind of information is actually something that an ESFP needs and requires to be back on their feet and keep going, because they are introvert intuition inferior, which means that they do have a sense of what could be in the future, but they never feel certain about that. The point of the point of self-esteem of the two types are instead extroverted intuition for ESFJs, extroverted thinking for ESFPs. Basically, what an ESFJ cares about is the wholeness of the external situation, which means that they want to have a lot of possibilities in front of them. So their self-esteem is based on how many possibilities they are able to create for themselves, on how many options they have. So for an ESFJ, it is important, for example, to have 3 different places where they can be in the same hour, and to have a chance to reach them all, to do everything. They are very busy people, actually, busy bees. Whereas an ESFP, the ESFP cares most about having their facts correct, knowing how things actually are. So their main focus is, I said in another video some time ago, their main focus is about the truth, knowing what is factually true, factually accurate. That's their core of self-esteem. Plus, I read something about having a turf of some sort. Like both ESFPs and ENFPs need to have an area of expertise of some sort, where they are. I think that's actually an extra thinking thing in general. But anyway, yeah, their self-esteem is based on having an area of expertise. So yeah, this is roughly the differences between these two types. So as you can see, on one side you have a very fluffy bunny, a social butterfly, someone that is very socially oriented. On the other side, instead, you have someone that is very strict about their goals, their activities, and whatever it is that they're aiming for, with a very weird and very strange sense of humor, and a tendency to judge everything they find in their path, in a very silent way. They do it for themselves. They do not need to actually expose their judgments, and they actually very rarely do that unless it's necessary. That's an introverted feeling trait. Introverted feeling is not explicit. Introverted feeling is something that happens within the person. So yeah, this is basically the main differences between these two types. Fluffy bunny on one side, king and royalty on the other, basically. Kings, queens, royalty on the other side. If on one side, having an ESFJ against you can kill your social life. So if you're an INTJ, you probably don't give a fuck about having an ESFJ against you. They're scaring the shit out of you. They're telling you things and doing things around you, and you're going to say, oh my God, I'm going to be isolated. Then at some point you're realizing that you are isolated by choice, and you're going to feel better. They'll ruin your day, but that's all that they can do. There's nothing that they actually can do to actually ruin your day. The ESFP, on the other hand, is extremely burdening emotionally if they get started. So for INTJs and ISTJs, they're probably the most burdening type. If an ESFP decides to pour their emotions on you demonstratively, they're going to destroy you emotionally. So yeah. what they can do is actually destroy your willpower. So they are motivators. They can be strong motivators, but they can also destroy your willpower. So I don't think that INTPs are worried about that. It's probably the same thing as with INTJs. They're gonna have their day ruined, and then they're gonna figure out that they have no willpower anyway, and so at the end of the day, they're gonna resist it. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, the leading function of the conflicting type always ruins our day. So keep that in mind. Anyway, yeah, this is everything I have about these two types for this time. I will talk to you soon. Bye.